Good afternoon, and I would like to start by welcoming to the HiTech closing session both the attendants here at this magnificent venue that is the Tivoli BBVA Theatre, as well as to the audience that is watching us through the live stream. My name is Pedro Vilarinho. I'm the Director General of HiSeedTech, which is the association that is behind the program. And I'd like to welcome Roger Debo, that will be the host of the session, as well as Steve Markham, which both were key in preparing the teams that will present later today the projects that throughout almost 4 months they have developed together with the HiSeedTech team to convey here to this audience. The stars of the event are going to be the teams, the research teams that are going to present. So most of the session is going to be dedicated to the teams. I will come back later to explain who we are, HiSeedTech, who HiSeedTech is and why we do HiTech, and also to present the new development of our association, which is an European program that we are going to launch. In fact, tomorrow. We will have our kickoff meeting tomorrow. So now I'm going to quickly switch to Portuguese, because the first part of the session is going to be in Portuguese, although the rest of the session is in English, because HiTech is in English, so I'll switch to Portuguese. Muito bem-vindos a esta sessão de encerramento do HiTech, que é o programa mais importante da HiSeedTech, porque é o programa que é marcante naquilo que nós fazemos e é o contributo, é o grande contributo dos nossos associados para a sociedade e, simultaneamente, é aquilo que nos permite depois ter um conjunto de apoios que prestamos aos associados por causa da rede que temos vindo a criar ao longo dos anos, da rede de investigadores que temos vindo a criar ao longo dos anos. A sessão hoje é essencialmente dedicada às 9 equipas de investigação que vão apresentar os projetos em que trabalharam durante estes quase 4 meses e que basicamente começaram com projetos de investigação e que esperamos que hoje pareçam mais projetos de negócio do que projetos de investigação e que as empresas e as pessoas da área mais empresarial percebam aquilo que os investigadores vão transmitir. Porque essa é a nossa grande vitória, é conseguir explicar aquilo que aparentemente era inexplicável no princípio do HiTech nesta sessão. Eu volto mais tarde para apresentar a HiSeedTech e para apresentar o programa europeu que nós vamos arrancar amanhã. Temos a sessão de kickoff amanhã. Pronto, e agora passo ao presidente da direção da HiSeedTech, que é o engenheiro Mário Freire, para fazer a abertura da sessão. Mário.
Obrigado, Pedro. Excelentíssimos senhores dirigentes e quadros das empresas associadas da HiSeedTech, que nos encontramos hoje pela manhã, caros participantes do programa HiTech, mentores, parceiros, amigos e as pessoas que estão a assistir connosco pelo live stream. As minhas primeiras palavras são naturalmente boas-vindas à ação de encerramento do HiSeedTech. Deixem-me partilhar uma nota pessoal. Eu fui mentor já durante muitos anos e há muitos anos e sei bem da importância e do nervoso que nós tínhamos quando estávamos nesta apresentação. Este ano a sessão ganhou um formato híbrido. Estamos nesta sala magnífica do Teatro Tivoli BBVA. Somos 80 aqui à nossa frente e temos 120 pessoas a assistir da transmissão que estamos a efetuar ao vivo. O programa HiTech é um programa âncora da HiSeedTech. A HiSeedTech é uma associação sem fins lucrativos que soma atualmente 24 associados, cujo um dos propósitos é suprir uma falha de mercado resultante da escassez de iniciativas com um foco específico no apoio à translação de tecnologias desenvolvidas por investigadores para a economia e para a sociedade, ou seja, através da criação de startups de base tecnológica ou de inovação aberta. Através do programa HiTech pretendemos não só motivar as equipas de investigação a testar a viabilidade comercial dos seus projetos de investigação científica, como capacitar os investigadores que participam no programa na translação do conhecimento gerado através do investimento público em investigação e desenvolvimento. O HiTech é um programa totalmente gratuito para as equipas de investigação que nele participam, o que releva o sentido de responsabilidade e compromisso de nós, 24 associados da HiSeedTech, que financiam este programa. Este gesto é demonstrador da clara aposta da HiSeedTech em ajudar Portugal na transição para uma economia baseada no conhecimento. A atual conjuntura ajuda-nos a perceber cada vez mais a pertinência em apostar em ciência e em tecnologia produzida em território nacional e, sobretudo, em transpô-la para o mercado. Apesar de sermos orgulhosamente uma iniciativa privada, temos uma missão com impacto público. A nossa missão só é possível devido àqueles que nos apoiam, nomeadamente os nossos associados, os 34 investigadores que hoje irão apresentar os seus projetos de negócio, os 20 mentores que acreditam no programa e que de uma forma completamente voluntária apoiam incondicionalmente as equipas, o BBVA, muito obrigado novamente por apoiar esta sessão de encerramento, mantendo-nos aqui neste belo teatro, e a equipa da HiSeedTech, que são a alma deste programa e que torna a concretização possível. I thank to our American partners, namely BioDegradable from Rutgers University, that is here with us, and host the session, and to Steve Marken from North Carolina State University and Agus Kingdom from Brown University, both watching us through the live stream. Aproveito esta oportunidade para deixar um desafio a todas as empresas que nos estão a ver. Se acreditam no investimento em talento, em ciência e em tecnologia ao serviço das empresas e das pessoas, juntem-se a nós, a este grupo extraordinário. Gostava de salientar que hoje também é um momento de grande orgulho e alegria para a HiSeedTech, porque no final da sessão, como o Pedro referiu, iremos apresentar o programa do Horizonte Europa, que iremos coordenar e que, conjuntamente com os nossos parceiros de consórcio, nos ajudarão a estender o nosso alcance a outros países do sul da Europa. So, turning back in English again, I would acknowledge the presence of the members of the consortium partners of the European program that will be coordinated by HiSeedTech and that will be present later in the session. So, to all of you, a warm welcome to Portugal. Termino a desejar boa sorte, tudo bom para as 9 equipas que irão apresentar hoje os seus projetos, felicitando o trabalho até hoje. Muito obrigado. Now, Roger, it's your time.
Boa tarde. So for those of you at home, they're laughing because that's all the Portuguese I know. Welcome. It's my honor and pleasure to be here as the host. I've come to appreciate your beautiful country and the Portuguese sense of humor, being probably the only person in this venue that doesn't speak Portuguese. Of course, they asked me to be the host. It is an honor to work with the students, the teams that are here. They are scientists who are attempting something that is somewhat scary. They're out of their comfort zone because they believe in the work they've done in the labs, and they want to transform those sciences into products that are viable for creating a new company. They've worked very hard for what they're going to present today, and though I may massacre their names, and I apologize in advance. I'm really eager to see the presentations as they come. Our first presentation traveled the farthest. They are from the University of Madeira. The third word, and I already messed it up. Madeira, BioReboot. The team consists of Tiago Gomes, Carla Raganagi, and Marcelo Campo. Tiago will be the presenter. Please come on up.
Quick test. Okay. So before we start, I'd like to thank this opportunity. We are very happy to kick off today's presentations. I'm here with Marcela and Carla, and we came from Madeira Islands, and we have the responsibility to be representing the Madeira Islands for the first time in a HiTech final, and we are very proud to do so. So today we are here to talk about our biogrowth pods. They are our replacement to single-use plastics in agriculture. The European plastic production amounts to more than 50 million tons per year. And did you know that almost 3.5% of that are agricultural plastics? This includes plastic sheets, plastic growing trays, and plastic bags like the ones you can see on the picture. Unfortunately, most of them are single-use, and as all plastics, they degrade into microplastics. We should care about this because the latest studies show that fruit and vegetables are already absorbing microplastics in their early stage growth. So we are eating, drinking, and breathing microplastics. Early stage growth of plants usually start here, greenhouse producers, and that's why we have focused on these producers. They are looking for the replacement of those plastic trays and plastic bags, but they have to reduce their costs. This has to be a viable replacement. Those costs take the form of inventory losses because these are low-density plastics, and they are so low quality that if they are bad handled during the processes or badly stored, they start to fragment like paper and become unusable. They also have plant losses because they have to transplant the plants from the plastic into the soil, and this generates plant stress. That stress leads to plant losses. In some species, like the eucalyptus, those losses go up to 30% of the production. They also are faced with inefficient processes because even the producers that use reusable plastic, they have to wash and disinfect those materials. And that means more water used, more sanitizing products bought, and more time spent. We have a solution for that, and it starts with our biomaterial. We have been developing the Madeira Islands, a biomaterial that is made from agricultural residues. It is a proprietary mix of 5 subtropical fibers, and we have chosen specifically these fibers because they have natural binding agents that are activated when thermoformed. This allows us to create products in the desired forms without the use of any glues or adhesives. And also, by not using any glues, they have an accelerated rate of degradation. With the biomaterial, we have developed our biogrowth pods. We have some prototypes if you want to check them out. They degrade in less than 2 months, and this is very important for a healthy root system. The fibers that we use are very nutrient-rich, and this promotes the plant health. It eliminates the need of transplantation and speeds up the process in up to 20%. The fibers that we use are very good at retaining water, and all of these characteristics end up reducing the costs of the producers and increasing their margins. This biomaterial can be used for a lot of products and a lot of markets, but we have found that fresh herbs and cut flower markets are the more profitable ones. We aim to enter our beachhead market, that is Portugal, where we have identified nearly 600 growers in a market that is valued in more than 600 million euros. But we aim to replace the trays and bags, so our addressable market is at nearly 180 million euros. There are already some plastic alternatives in the market. As you can see, their price is already higher than plastic materials, but these companies have achieved large scale. So there is a market that wants to buy these types of materials. Our price is 6 cents higher, But because of our proprietary mix of fibers, we are able to deliver more nutrient availability to the plants, a better water retention, and a degradation in less than 2 months. So it's worth paying a premium price for a premium product. We are also giving production savings and increasing their efficiency. And our price range is well within the limit of what people are willing to pay for these types of sustainable alternatives. We are based in the Madeira Islands, which is an outermost region, and we believe that we can establish a B2B model based on circular economy. And Madeira is very interesting to do so, because we have the ability to gather the biomass from both agricultural producers and food and beverage industries, transform them into a biomaterial, and then produce different types of products. Also, Madeira has a tax system that incentives the exportation of goods. And we are talking a cumulative 10 to 35% in income tax and property tax. We have already achieved 2 of our milestones with the development of our prototypes and the implementation of field trials with a fresh herbs producer and the government-run greenhouse, which are interested in our biogrowth pods. We are seeking an investment of 1 million euros in order to further characterize our material by mechanical stress testing and some nutritional testing that we currently are unable to do so in the Madeira Islands. We also need to scale up our production, and by the end of 2023, we intend to enter market with a 3rd generation product that will be our premium pods. By 2026, we aim to enter other products and other markets. Our financial projections show that if we enter by the end of 2023, we achieve break-even in 2024. By 2026, we aim to invest in large-scale machinery, and the projections show that BioReboot is poised to achieve a 40 million cumulative cash flow by 2028. Marcela, Carl, and myself are the ones that make BioReboot live and breathe. We have combined experiences of 45 years in different areas, such as biology, food production, and education. And we are also seeking more skills in finance and business management. To wrap it up, our biogrowth pods deliver an increased production efficiency of up to 20%. They have increased nutritional value for the plants. They have increased humidity retention. They eliminate the need of transplantation while reducing costs. But more importantly, they leave no end-of-life waste. Thank you very much, and here are our contacts. If you have any questions, we are able and willing to answer them. Thank you.
Okay. Questions, please? Do you have a question over there?
Thank you. We're fine, yeah.
Kitchen works are working?
Yeah, I still am.
Good. My question is 2 questions. Is there for your product any other application besides that the agricultural one?
Okay, yes. The biogrowth pods are an example of what we can do with our biomaterial, but we are finding other applications in different areas such as construction, interior design. It is a very versatile biomaterial, and those are applications that we want to explore.
Yeah, good. Just a complementary question. For the target market that you are addressing, do you have enough raw material in Madeira Islands to cover this?
That's a great question. Yes, we have. That's a very important question since we are in an island. We are within a comfortable margin because the ratio that we have for producing the pods, the island is currently generating biomass in the order of more than 20 kilotons, and our pods use a few grams. So we are comfortable to generate enough pods, and also the provisions that we made are using only 60 to 7% of the total fiber. So we still have a margin to pursue other products or even increase the capability. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done. Our next team will be HuTissue from the University of Aveiro, and they've already established a company called MetaTissue. They'll tell you about that in a minute. The team is Catarina Custodio, Sarah Santos, Ines Dois, Gonzalo Amador, and Fabiana Pereira, and Gonzalo will be the presenter.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gonzalo. I have a master's in biotechnology, and I'm here presenting the HuTissue team as well as the MetaTissue company to present and talk about our product that is a human protein-based platform for 3D cell culture. So currently in the pharmaceutical and biotech industry, there is a big problem that the industry faces. So in order to develop a single drug, first, thousands of compounds are screened for their efficacy. And out of these, only a few hundred pass to preclinical assays. These preclinical assays are performed either in vitro or in small animal models. And out of these, only a few are passed to clinical trials that are even more expensive, reaching nearly $1 billion in expenses, and most of the times it eventually fails. So this is a process that is very inefficient, that takes a lot of time and wastes potentially a lot of money. So this inefficiency is, one of the reasons for it is that ultimately you are testing for drugs that are intended for human use, and they are tested in vitro models that have either synthetic or animal-based materials to perform those assays at. So this presents low accuracy when you are testing for drugs, as there is no replication of the human body. So there is a clear need in the market to fill this gap and have a human-based material to test the drugs in an in vitro platform. So we found that solution, and our human-based material is derived from human proteins, and they are rich in growth factors that help to proliferate the cells, and we can make a disease model out of it. So here is an example of a cancer invasion model that you can see here. So in this type of cells, they tend to grow, they proliferate very well, and they grow metastases to spread all over your body. And on the right, you can see an animal competitor of ours, and the cells don't grow. So when you are trying to test a drug on it, you can't even see the effect it takes on the cells. So as you see on the left-hand side, using our material that is human-based, the cells proliferate, they are in a natural environment. So when you apply a drug to it, you can actually see the effect it takes on the tumor. So we can do that with our patent-protected technology. So we derive from expired blood units, and we burst the proteins to obtain the lysates. That it's the PL right here that you see on our product, and we chemically modify it to make a product that is a powder-like material. Then we sell this product, we intend to sell this product and ship it to the end users' labs of the industry, and they mix it with a photoresponsive product and expose light to it to form an hydrogel. This hydrogel can be room temperature stable, so there is no need to use ice water baths to remain cold, and as it is photoresponsive, it is easy to handle. So when you are mixing the powder, you can actually vary the concentration of the product, and you can adjust the stiffness. So you can replicate different organs. So you can study different diseases in specific tissues. So you can then apply drugs to it and have a screening of the drugs. So this is our competition. We currently have some human and animal-based competition that they have a good mixture of proteins to give the cells the biochemical cues for them to proliferate, as well as we have some synthetic competitors that they are easy to handle and they can simulate different organs. But we have the good of both worlds. So we have a good mixture of proteins filled with growth factors, and we can also simulate different tissues. So this is our business model. We are a clear B2B business. We get our raw materials either from expired blood units from blood banks or from platelet lysates that are commercially available. We then in-house manufacture and package our product at our facilities in Aveiro. And then we will use distributors to ship this product worldwide in the North American and European market mostly, as well as a direct online channel via a website. So this is our market. We are located in the 3D cell culture market, mainly focusing on the pharmaceutical and biotech industry for hydrogel-based technologies. And in the European and North America market, we estimate a $390 million addressable market. This market is estimated to grow at a minimum 11% rate to reach the $800 million mark by 2028. And this is our roadmap. As Roger said, we already founded a startup called MetaTissue in 2018. We have our first prototype, and we reached the technology readiness level of 4. As well as we got recently an European patent approved. So with a $2 million investment, it would get us to install a scaled-up facility to scale up our productions, as well as obtain a certification of ISO and entering the market by 2024. And we'll obtain as well US protection that is already filled, reaching some very interesting revenue numbers that you can see here. So entering in the market by 2024, we can estimate roughly $40 million revenue by 2028. So this is the team that's behind the project. We've been working on this particular project for 6 years. Our team leader is Catarina, that founded MetaTissue. We are composed of Sara and Inês that are working on their PhDs at the University of Aveiro, and me and Fabiana who are at MetaTissue. So just as a wrap-up, our human-based material can provide a closer replication of the human environment, therefore accelerating the research and reducing the associated costs. And we also intend to replace the use of animal models that are used during in vitro preclinical trials, as well as reducing the need for those models. So thank you very much, and feel free to contact us if you have any doubts.
It's open for questions.
Yes, Roger, if I may. Congrats to the team and also to you, Gonçalo. You have done the presentation. So I have 2 questions. And the question is, how deep you have been in test in drug or disease? And also, how far you walked in possible partnerships or clients?
Okay, very interesting question. So we have tested actually for a drug in our model. So we made it's a published paper. We made a more comprehensive tumor model of a bone tumor of osteosarcoma, and we tested for a common drug that is used in that type of cancer, and we obtained some very interesting results that replicate the human body. So in our model, we have the similar response to what really happens in our body. So that it's very interesting. As well as partnerships. Yeah, we also were approached by some companies as well regarding microfluidics, as well as companies that test for skin products. So yeah, we've been approached by that type of industry. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, we have another question.
Quick question, sorry. Really, maybe I'll start, really technical. So I'm interested in the esophagus, okay, or esophagus. And I have 2 cell lines. Can you and your team tell me what it'll take to test my 2 cell lines to see if they work in your matrix? Or should I ask you over coffee?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Yeah, we are happy to talk about that later after the presentations to get to know better the cell lines that you are interested in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, our next presenters are from Tink. They're from the Nova School of Science and Technology. The members are Andre Opinhão, Guillaume Ferreira, and Suman Nandi. Guillaume will be our presenter today.
Okay, so this is here. All good with the sound? Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Guilherme Ferreira. I'm speaking to you on behalf of Tink, and today we're going to put forward to you our solution to solve one of the biggest problems in road trafficking nowadays. Did you know that every year about 400,000 motorcyclists die due to crashes? This is the equivalent to at least 2,400 airplanes all full of people. Unfortunately, we cannot have with you the timer of the World Health Organization, but the truth is that every minute, 23 seconds that passes, a motorcyclist dies. And this is just absolutely heartbreaking. What can actually be done in order to try to save more lives? In order to answer that, first thing we have to do is understand about the golden hour. So the golden hour is a term that was first coined by neurosurgeon R. Adam Crowley, and is currently defined by the World Health Organization as the hour right after the injury, where the patient's chances of survival is greatly increased if they receive the proper medical assistance. So the timing arrival of medical assistance is really an important issue. And to do so, some people have already tried to address it by incorporating a crash detection system within the helmet that would detect a crash and then send an alert via the mobile phone to the emergency services or personal contacts of the user. But the problem is that these solutions are all battery-based. And God forbid, what can happen if it suddenly runs out of power? Then it can fail us at the most critical time. And it won't be smart anymore. Instead of a solution, we'll again have another problem. So our solution is HelmLink. HelmLink is a self-powered interactive helmet liner that would be incorporated with the inside of the helmet padding with a interactive self-powered liner which is wearable and flexible and can also have inbuilt energy harvesters and self-powered sensors. The technology to which our interactive self-powered liner is based is our Tink technology, which is a touch-sensitive ink that can harvest human energy just by our interactions with our movement or our vibrations. And in that way, we can power the whole logistics of our helmet and have the inbuilt self-powered sensors. Other features that our HelmLink will have will, once it detects the crash, it can map the area of impact in your head, the area of impact of that crash. Further, it can also measure the impact intensity to which that crash has happened. Furthermore, it will also alert the emergency contact services as well as the personal user's contact and give a time-based location with our integrated GPS system. In fact, if we analyze the rest of the competition, we'll see that only HelmLink is the only self-powered liner. It's also the only one who can map the area of the crash in your head. In fact, most of the competition can only send an alert to the personal contacts of the user and the time-based location of that crash. Very few solutions can actually provide the measurement of the impact intensity and to alert the emergency contact services. So we are proposing a strategic partnership business where we'll identify our helmet manufacturer, and through then, based on criteria such as financial strategy or commitment, we would be able to integrate our liner through there, and we would then address the market through our distributors. The market size, we've estimated the current market size in 2022 of 520 million euros, and we expect this number to rise to 1.5 billion by 2030. We've also estimated a smart liner helmet market to be around 104 million euros. We've actually also conducted some of our own primary market research, where we've put forward a survey where we've asked the people if they would be interested in a helmet with these features. And out of 40 answers, we got an astounding 92.5% positive feedback. We plan on entering the market by the year 2024, 2024, we'll expect to hit break-even by 2026 and to expand our manufacturing facilities by 2028. In the meantime, we'll have research and development activities starting this year already, as well as IP protection and licensing. Our marketing and sales and product manufacturing activities will start in the year 2023. We'll be seeking for a first round of investment of 500K and a second round of 2 million in order to help us cope with the first years in the market. We'll be requiring then a total investment of 2.5 million euros with a payback period of 5. As said, we'll expect to hit break-even in 3 years, and we'll expect also to have a revenue of 18.9 million euros by the year 2029. This is the team that comprises HelmLink, which consists of myself, Andrea Opinião, and Dr. Shuman Nandi, all with a background in material science and physics, more specifically in self-powered sensors and energy harvesting technologies. So this is HelmLink. HelmLink is a smart self-powered interactive liner. It's self-powered, it can measure the area of impact in your head, which nobody else can. It can measure the intensity and alert emergency contact services, as well as do what most of the other competition can do, which is alerting the personal emergency contacts and send a GPS location of the crash. We also plan on expanding our market to cyclist helmets, professional workers' helmets, and also other extreme sports. Now, if we could check back at the timer, we would see that during this presentation, about 5 motorcyclists have died. And unfortunately, even with our solution, we wouldn't be able to save everyone. But even if we did, that would already make a huge difference for us. Thank you very much, and drive safe.
Thank you. Questions?
Ela.
Pick one.
Hello, Gonçalo and all of you, thank you for your presentation. For me, as a true petrol head, this is a very interesting product and solution. But let me ask you 2 questions. First of all, how far have you developed your solution, let's say in terms of TRL? And second, do you really think that you can be manufacturing and in the market within 1.5 years, let's say 2024? Can you explain me that a little bit better? Thank you.
Yes, of course. So we are currently at the TRL between 3 and 4. So we were projecting this to enter the market by that year, but we feel that if we are giving the proper investment, that we can get the equipment, get the facilities, and do the testing in order to do that. We are also already contacting other helmet manufacturers that would actually help us with the whole testing and the whole homologation that a system like this would require to be placed in the helmets.
So 2 questions from my side. The first one, what is the IP protection that you have for your technology?
Okay.
And the second one, what is the impact on the cost of the helmet of applying your sensors?
Okay. So about the IP, we're currently under a materials IP appreciation. We've started that. And the second was related to the cost, how much it would... Okay, the impact on the cost. We are projecting about a 20 to 30% increase on that way. But it would be around, considering the normal ranges of helmet pricing that we have, they could range for... Some of the more simple solutions could range between 50 and 150, and we feel like we could increase 20% on those pricings.
We have time for one more, if you could give them the mic.
Again, thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. Could you expand just one more step on this 20% or 25% increase, and also if your business model is really looking at producing or basically associating with someone who is already producing and then licensing it to those?
Excuse me, could you repeat, please? Sorry.
So 2 questions. One of them is expanding a little bit on the increase in cost. And so if that's an increase on a basic helmet or on competing alternatives. The second question is, if your business model is looking at manufacturing as such, and those two are tied, because a part of that could be a higher cost of manufacturing embedded in that.
Okay. So compared to the other solutions that are currently out there, we in fact do not add much cost to the other crash detection systems that we have. In fact, we feel that maybe we can even decrease, because most of the solutions that are out there are based with accelerometers technologies. And our sensing technology would be different, so that could actually bring the cost down when comparing to those solutions that currently exist. About the partnership, well, we feel like at the moment we are conversating with other companies, and we're trying to figure out also what would be the best strategy for us in that sense. But I mean, I feel like if you want to discuss with us in more detail, we could also discuss that after.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next group is Smart Photonics. The team is João Ramalho, Barbara Varaj, Paulo André, Ruth Ferreira, and Lilia Dias. They're from CISECO. Is that how you say that?
It's good, it's good.
CISECO. Don't try too hard. Is that what you're saying?
It's all right.
Viro Institute of Materials and Telecommunications Institute and IST Institute Superior Técnico. Our presenter will be João Ramalho.
Thank you. That was perfect. It's just, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is João Ramalho. I am here representing Smart Photonics, and we have been together for around 6 years developing our product named Vino Veritas. We know that by November 2023, all wines commercialized in the European Union must have on their label the list of ingredients and the nutritional declaration, either directly written or through some digital support. But as we see in this example, the label is already very crowded and with a very shortage of space to include the requirement by the EU. So we will use the QR codes already in there. Although we saw two drawbacks at this stage. One is that the information is only available online, and the second one is that this technology is already stretched to the maximum. However, we as a team came to an enhanced QR code. We have been working for over 15 years with combined expertise, 6 years developing the concept and 2 years developing a patent to create an enhanced QR code based on multiplexing schemes, either through color or through shapes. The idea is to use different shapes and colors to generate unique QR codes. This can be stacked to form a multi-layer QR code that will have 3 times more storage capacity than the QR code already on the label. So we will intend to replace this QR code, to improve it by our QR codes that will be able to work both online or offline by the development of a custom applications that we can all download from some app store or Play Store around the world. Therefore, we developed Vino Veritas, which is a smart label with enhanced capabilities, able to store the nutritional information required by the EU. Furthermore, we foresee in the near future to add additional features and so expand the product to several different lines. We aim at the wine market, and we see as the consumers, the wine producers. So we analyzed the wine market in 2020, and we see that in Europe were produced 33,000 million bottles during the full year. If we scale it down to Portugal and to Spain, we see 3,500 million bottles produced in 2020, and look closely just to Portugal, we had a production of 480 million bottles. Okay? If we see Portugal as our market, we can expect a revenue of 14.4 million, and we can increase up to 990 million if we reach the total European market. This is putting a selling price that we discussed with some wine companies, and it seems very reasonable. Also, I are aimed to expand to other industries with the inclusion of the different features. That's what I will discuss with you now. In addition to this enhancement of the storage capability and to put the nutritional information in there, we will develop and keep on developing our proprietary ink, and this ink will allow us to put additional features on the label. These features can encompass unique identification of the bottle with authentication and traceability, and we also endow the label with the ability to sense either humidity, temperature, luminosity, recording the extreme conditions. All of these features combined will design a tailored smart label that the consumer can pick which features they want and generate a customized label to improve their product. At this stage, we see as competition for Vino Veritas the U-Label. U-Label simply is an online information platform that generates normal QR codes that the wine producers must print, put on their labels, okay? And if we put ourselves side by side with them, we can do what they do, but we can do a little bit more because we can work offline and we can encode 3 times more information than they are able at this stage. Also, we have the ability to introduce new features in the future, okay? All of this without changing too much the cost for the customer. Our roadmap for the company in the first stage is optimization. On the second stage, we will go for the product development, where we aim to launch our first product on July 2023 to meet the deadline that was set by the European Union. We will bet strong on marketing. We need a lot of marketing to push for this deadline, and this is what we expect to need in funding all over this place, this timeline. 4.5 million. This is to have a very big push on the first year to enter the market strong, and afterwards, since we will develop an additional pipeline and intend to launch a new product, we will need additional funding to launch these different products, okay? When we look at our financials, we aim to enter on the market on 2023. The initial funding must be around 1.3 million, out of the 4.5 that I already mentioned to you. We expect to break even by the year 2025, and by the year 2027, we expect to reach the 52.5 million euros. This is already aiming at the Portuguese market, Spanish market, French, and trying to reach all over Europe and this large value. The team, as you can see, is composed by different members with several years of experience in different areas of expertise. We go from photonics, biomedical, physics, or chemical engineering. And we are apart from top research institutions in Portugal. To wrap up, Vino Veritas is for wine companies that want to add value to their product, fostering different experiences to their customers. This is reached through the development of a unique label that will allow us to expand to new products. We will foresee a market entry in 1 year with low initial investment and fast returns. I would like to finish by thank you all, especially Luis and Miguel, our mentors, also Claudia and Pedro, as well as the rest of the team. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Questions?
Hello, my name is Luis Antunes from University of Lisbon.
Yeah,
I have a question, kind of a technical question. Why you aim at only 3 times more information? It seems that with more colors you could have any quantity of information that you could have in the label. And also, why did you focus specifically on the wine business, since it seems to be such a general technology that you could use for anything?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, for the first question, 3 times more information is what we already have and what we already patent. We can foresee an 8-fold increase. That is for sure. Also, regarding the second question, we enter on the wine market because of this need from the European Union. And as you see, there is not much persons working on that issue nowadays. So we see an opportunity to get in the market fast and afterwards launch to different industries with the inclusion of the additional features. So we foresee a lot of industries where we can go. But at this stage, we aim to the wine market.
Okay. Any other questions? There's one down front here.
Hi, good afternoon. So I understand that your main customer has to be wine companies. I understand that you have to put on, the information on the bottle, you have to work with them. The question is simple. How many companies have you already interacted with? In case they could be potential customers.
Yeah. We have been in contact with three wine companies. Two of those we are still in contact with. We have visited one of those companies a month and a half ago, and they all came to this conclusion that this is a need. Also, they were not very clear on what other features they want. Hence, this break apart in different features that each wine company can select. One wine company might just want some features, other wine company might want another different features. So we give this possibility to customize to that specific wine company, okay? But we are still in conversations with two wine companies in Portugal.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next presentation will be SensePredict. Elsa Lamy, Carla Simões, and Inês Cairo. These are from University of Évora. See, I even knew that place. I've been there. Évora. Elsa will be our presenter. Thank you.
So, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Elsa Lamy. I'm on behalf of my team that is SensePredict. Well, let me start by reminding you that one of the great things in life is enjoying eating and drinking. And at the same time, it is awful when we don't get the taste we expect from a product. And the truth is that around 90% of customers that are unhappy with a product will not buy it again. And more, it costs 5 times more to attract new customers than to retain new ones. So because of that, food industry is pressed to assure that a new batch of a product will match the taste of a previous one. And because of this, many companies make daily assessment of the sensory quality of their products. And at this time, they have 2 solutions to do this. They can rely on taste panels. That is a good solution, but it's not perfect because humans are subjective. Each individual cannot test more than 3 to 5 samples at a time. And additional to that is potential to vary from time to time. The other solution is chemical analysis. But chemical analysis gives the chemical description of the product, but not the taste characteristics. So what agri-food sector really needs in terms of sensory analysis is a method that is objective, precise, reproducible, and at the same time can be used in an unlimited number of samples. We have this solution. Our solution, SensePredict, is a technology based on artificial saliva that allows to taste outside the mouth. And this artificial saliva is the secret of our technology. It has a defined composition that took more than 15 years to be reached. So besides understand how we can taste outside the mouth, let me explain you what happens inside the mouth. Inside the mouth, when we eat or drink, the food is mixed with saliva. And it's this mixture between food and saliva that reaches the receptors on the tongue or nasal cavity for aroma. And is this mixture, the reception of this mixture, that is further perceived has the several taste qualities, astringency, or aroma. So how it works, our solution? Well, we will mix the artificial saliva with the product. We will monitor the interaction between them, and we will give a quantifiable result translating that interaction. This technology is new and is patentable. So we will start by having a standard solution, a standard artificial saliva that gives a profile of organoleptic characteristics that is stable through the time and that can be very useful for quality control assessment. But we can have also an interesting product that is a customizable solution based on different formulations of artificial salivas specific for representing different types of consumers, for example, people from different ages, men and women, or consumers from different nationalities, or even salivas that can represent lunchtime or dinner time, what can be really useful for new product development. So we start by considering the entry in the market as a service. We will receive the product in our lab, we will mix with saliva, we will monitor the interaction, and we will produce a report that can be sent to the client in one day. But we want to go on and to develop a kit that can be used directly by the client and that will allow him to test their products in their own company. So that will be based on a sensor that will monitor the interaction between saliva and the food. And this will allow, of course, a very quick result. In terms of market, we start by considering liquid food market. And we start by wine, because wine is the sector for which we have the solution more ready to. And by considering what liquid food sector spends in sensory quality, we can consider a market of around 1 billion euros. In terms of competition, as I said, we can have taste panels and chemical analysis. They have, of course, advantages in some points, but they don't cover all the aspects that are needed, namely the high number of samples to be tested, the reproducibility, the objectivity, and we can't keep the same price. In terms of roadmap, we will have the prototype developed at the end of this year. We want to validate that during the year of 2023. We will enter the market in 2024 as a service. We will continue developing the sensor, and we will enter the market with the product in 2026. In terms of financials, we will have a cost of 35 euros per service and 20 euros for the product. During 2024 and 2025, we will have the revenue coming from services, but when we start to sell the kit, most of our revenue will come from the product, but we will keep the service. Our team is composed by myself and my colleagues Carla and Inês. We are researchers. We have a long experience working with saliva and oral food perception. And artificial saliva is the secret to the success of sensory quality assessment and for the delivery of an enjoyable product to consumer. So if you want to be our client, all that you have to do is to send a sample, and with our artificial saliva, we will give you a very accurate result. Thank you very much to all, and you can contact us.
Questions? Over here.
Hi. So why should companies that already have or do consumer panels choose your technology or your artificial saliva instead of doing the consumer panels?
Well, I think they can do the both, or can they choose ours? We add to the taste panels the number of samples that can be tasted at once and a very reproducible result that taste panels cannot have or cannot guarantee every time. If we think, for example, in COVID situation where taste panels could not be put together. People could not put together to taste. Our solution for situations like that can be very advantageous. But mainly reproducibility and the high number of tests that can be done, what in quality control can be very, very good. Moreover, just to finish, I think we can complement taste panel, and we can be used by taste panel for internal affirmation of their quality, for example, for training.
Any other questions?
Yes, please. Luis Antunes again. I'm sorry, I didn't understand what kind of result, I mean, after mixturing the product with your saliva, what kind of outcome do you produce, does your analysis produce?
Well,
because taste is a very complicated thing, very subjective thing, and we have a lot of, a span of terms, more or less subjective and personal, to classify a product. I'm kind of puzzled how you can summarize all this in an outcome.
The result that we will give reflects the intensity of each of the sensations, not for all, but for astringency, for bitterness, for sweetness, and for some aromas that we need to develop. We will give a number from 0 to 9, as the same system that a taste panel does, that corresponds to the intensity level of that characteristic. So we will not assess the hedonic judgment. We will not assess emotional characteristics that can be perceived when it's tasted, but we can give a result, a quantifiable result for the intensity level of perception.
It's like 5 parameters, so the 5 saltiness, sweetness.
Yes, but we will do this in separate. We will give a 5 for bitterness, a 4 for sweetness, dependent on the combination. We will not taste the product as a whole. This is for humans, but we can say that this product that cannot have more than a 3 of bitterness only has a 3, only has a 2, and this is reproducible from time to time.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next team is going to be PURR.AI, Conquering Aging. They're from the University of Coimbra, Irina Morena, and Nicola Rosario Freire. I did it. Irina will be presenting.
Thank you so much. So as Roger said, my name is Irina Moreira, and I'm here to present our team's fully integrated platform, PURR, designed to tackle age-related neurological disorders. We know nowadays that we can live longer. However, that doesn't mean that we live in a healthy state. Longer lives are not equal to healthy lives. In fact, we are seeing an increase in the number of associated pathologies, in particular neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's, dementia, and also stroke and depression, that are the key main responsibles for the increasing gap that you see here between life and health span. Neurological disorders are indeed the first cause of disability and the second cause of death worldwide. These estimates show the growth of the problem, as we know that for at least 40% of all persons above 65 will have one of these neurological disorders. So we need better solutions, and scientists are looking for better therapeutics. But as you know, the R&D drug discovery is very complex. The typical pipeline has 4 phases: the target and lead identification, the preclinical and clinical trials. And as my colleague said, it takes on average $1.8 billion and 10 years to get a single drug into the market. These values are even higher for neurological diseases, up to $6.7 billion, as the human brain is very complex, and so the failure rates are much higher. We, PURR.AI, our company, works on these 2 first R&D phases, the target and lead identification, in which the more traditional drug discovery pipeline relies mostly on trial and error, a very complex regulatory and experimental process that greatly increases the time and risk and funding. So what is the problem of the drug discovery? It basically is the size of our human proteome and the so-called drug-like chemical space, for which the possible number of combinations between drug and target are so high that it is compared to finding a needle in a haystack. So this cannot possibly be done by trial and error. we need better solutions, and therefore we need to use the power computers, and in particular the latest algorithms of artificial intelligence, to access the multitude of possibilities. That's what we do in PURR.AI. We scan all possible drug-target interactions and combinations, and we select the best possible drugs, the most promising ones. At the same time, we reduce the risk, and so we reduce the risk at the clinical and preclinical trials by facilitating an early failure compounds and warrant, meaning that we avoid very costly at the preclinical and clinical trials. So PURR.AI has a chance to increase the safety and the performance. So we make sure that we are more prone to get a drug into the market, and therefore we reduce the times and all the costs involved. So how we do it? PURR.AI is an AI-driven technology, and it's based on a set of particular biological targets at the cell membrane in the brain that are very important for neurological diseases and aging. And as aging is a multifactorial process, we take that into account and we have an holistic approach in which we merge all the possible sources of information from genomics, proteomics to three-dimensional structures of drugs and target. And we use this approach to construct proprietary database and proprietary algorithms of high quality, our PURR brain, that allows us to process requests from pharma in a very fast and accurate way. So this is the secret of our platform, this PURR brain engine that allows us to pinpoint the better drugs to the right target, and so we can reduce the age-related neurological disorders. We have already a proven record in aggregating some domain data in a smart way, in building algorithms with very superior performance against a huge number of competitors, and in providing key players and or elucidating their biological mechanisms, all backed up by over 60 publications in high-impact journals and specialized journals. So our platform is built upon the 25 years of a combined set of experience and skills, of course, weaponized by the use of AI. AI-driven players are still in their infancy in the industry, but already proven to be very effective to reduce the time and costs. That's why the number of startups in the area is increasing very rapidly, but that is only bypassed by the number of investors available in the area. However, we are very different from the competition out there. One, we are focused, so we are a company that works on mapping a particular set of targets for which we have high expertise. Two, that focus allows us to construct proprietary databases that have multidisciplinary knowledge and that are the mastermind of a platform. Third, using those databases, we can construct algorithms that allows us to understand the diseases and better obtain drugs for the right target. And of course, PURR is also modular, which means that it can be used as an end-to-end pipeline or in segmentation. Even more, it can be adapted to customize to our customers' needs and information, and so it has a broad aspect in it. So how are we going to do it? We are going to create a contract research organization, a CRO, and we are going to make partnerships with biotech and pharma. We'll get a value to these industries, and our revenue model is based on technology access and performance fees. We estimate that we need an initial funding to optimize and to scale our algorithms and database, and for that we need to hire specialized researchers. We also think that in 2023 we are open to launch a beta version already into the market, and so after that the necessary funding will be to escalate even more our platform, and we preview a end of all the models already in 2027. Our financials with this initial beta version interest in 2023 allows us to break even in 2025. So to work in such a complex area, we need to be the interface between AI and life science. That's why we are the right team at the right time, because we sought to have formal education in various branches of science, from mathematics to biochemistry and computer science. We have international experience, and we are specialized in this area. To sum up, PURR allows us to tackle these age-related neurological disorders using proprietary databases that keep on growing, proprietary algorithms with superior performance that reduce the R&D failure by designing and identifying better drugs to the right target. Ultimately, it will improve health on our golden years by closing the gap between life and health span. So let's conquer aging.
Questions? There's one over there.
Hello, thank you very much for the presentation. It is a complex issue, and I think it was very well presented. I have just a couple of questions. So regarding the expertise, and so this is something the platform is in need of having information and update information. Is that why you need the expertise to improve your platform? And regarding the service itself, so how do you think, how do you find yourselves? You are here in Portugal, so how do you scale up this? How do you see yourself in a couple of years from now, the next step?
Sorry, I was just waiting for my microphone. So thank you for your questions. So regarding the first one, of course, AI is often told that it's garbage in, garbage out. So we need to really take care of the quality of the data input, so we don't get that much garbage in the models. And also, at the same time, we are able to, because of our formal education, we are also able to criticize the results it gives us back. So instead of a generalized solution like some might adopt, we think that the right way to understand the complexity of the brain and the neurological diseases is indeed by criticizing both the data input and then the output the models gave. Because of course, you can always say, and we believe it's true as well, that the importance is not the model you use, but it's the quality of the data that at the end of the day makes a difference. That's why the expertise is so important. Regarding the second question. So we are based in Coimbra for some years now. Irina is the group leader of a group located in Biokent, which belongs to University of Coimbra, and also Coimbra will be receiving the Multidisciplinary Institute of Aging. So the environment is really focused on neuroscience and neurological diseases and aging. And since we are based in cloud services, the location is not that important in the technical aspect of that, but of course being included in an environment with mental health and neurological diseases and aging focused, it's a great advantage to us, at least in these first initial steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next team, Ana Barra, Zélia Alves, Claudia Nunes, and Paula Ferreira from University of Aveiro and CISECO, Aveiro Institute of Materials, will present BioElectroFilm. Ana will be our presenter.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, many thanks for coming here. My name is Ana Barra, and I'm a PhD student from the University of Aveiro. And today, I will talk on behalf of the BioElectroFilm team to bring you the electrically conductive food packaging. Adopting a healthy diet can improve the quality of life and extend the lifespan by 10 years. For this reason, there is a current demand for healthy food that is nutritious and preserved without additives. When considering a healthy diet, eggs are an excellent choice because they can bring several health benefits since they are composed by high-quality proteins, vitamins, and essential fatty acids. The pasteurized liquid eggs are currently a trend because they are very convenient to consume, they have an increased shelf life, and they are microbiologically safer. For these reasons, The global market of liquid eggs already achieved a market value of $3.7 billion. However, there is a problem with the pasteurization of liquid eggs. The pasteurization is strictly necessary to ensure the microbiological safety, but the eggs are thermally sensitive. So when the eggs are processed at temperatures around 60 degrees for a few minutes, their quality is degraded, as you can see from this image. On the other hand, there are several emerging non-thermal pasteurization technologies that are addressing this issue. A proof of that is the growth of the global non-thermal pasteurization market that is projected to achieve over $6 billion by 2028. When considering the pasteurization of liquid eggs, the high-pressure processing is not suitable. The cold plasma and the ultrasound are expensive, so the pulsed electric field, or PEF, is the most promising and the most likely to be used for the pasteurization of the liquid eggs. The pulsed electric field, or PEF, consists into the application of high-voltage pulses to food during microseconds, sterilizing the food in this way, while keeping their nutritional and organoleptic properties. So currently, the PEF treatment occurs prior to the packaging. So the food enters a treatment chamber where it is processed, and after the PEF process, it goes through an aseptic line, being finally filled inside a sterile packaging. However, in these final stages of the process, there is a risk of recontamination that is preventing the industrial dissemination of PEF. If the PEF process would be performed in pack, so the food would be packaged prior to the PEF treatment, we would avoid the risk of recontamination and eliminate the needs of aseptic lines and sterile packaging. But for this, there is a lack of an electrically conductive food packaging material that allows the electrical current to pass from the PEF equipment to the food. And currently, there is none available on the market. So we have developed an electrically conductive biocomposite film that is also flexible and suitable for food packaging. So this material is also antioxidant, antibacterial, and designed to be sustainable and biodegradable. So considering our technology, we will use these films to develop the electrically conductive food packaging. We will use a traditional cardboard packaging, and we will replace the two laterals by our electrically conductive film, creating this way the electrically conductive food packaging for the PEF in pack. We are partnering with the Portuguese Energy Pulse Systems, a company that will develop and supply to the industry the suitable equipment for the PEF in pack. So providing this solution to the food industry, we will prevent the recontamination. We will simplify the PEF process and reduce costs. We will also contribute for the PEF industrial implementation. Our market is estimated from the market of the liquid eggs. So our market, our addressable market, is the liquid eggs packaging market, estimated to be around $5 million. Our competition is the current PEF process and the pasteurization already used for the liquid eggs. Our process, the PEF in pack by BioElectroFilm, is more simple. It reduces costs, energy, and time, and reduces contamination. On the top of this, we keep the organoleptic and nutritional food properties. So our roadmap is composed by 3 phases. So far, we have developed the electrically conductive food, the electrically conductive film, and we did the proof of concept by passing the electrical current, having food in the middle. But we will need an early stage development phase to develop and validate the prototype of the packaging. During this phase, we expect also to have our patents submitted, and by the end of this phase, we expect to have the prototype validated. Then we will move to the product development. And by the end of this phase, we expect to have our products approved and launched. Then we will enter the market, and the liquid eggs market will be only the beginning, because after this, we are planning to reach other food products, such as the juices or the fresh milk. We will enter the market in 2025, and by 2029, we are expecting to achieve a cumulative cash flow above 20 million euros. Our team is composed by myself and by Zélia Alves, and we were supervised by Cláudia Nunes and Paula Ferreira. We are all researchers from CISECO at the University of Aveiro, and we are a solid team working together on this solution since the past 7 years. The BioElectroFilm solution to sterilize liquid eggs by PEF in PEC will prevent the recontamination. It will maintain the organoleptic and nutritional food properties, creating this way products with an added value. In addition, we will save time, energy, and costs. Many thanks.
Questions? Okay, go ahead.
First, congratulations. Your presentation was very clear and very straight to the point. I have two main questions which concern kind of your value chain. First is, you're dependent on a technology that you don't control and in its adoption, and how do you see this? And second is, you have your final consumers, which are not so knowledgeable about this technology. How do you think they will react to this kind of new packaging?
So first of all, we rely on the PEF technology. The PEF technology is on the kick start point. So far, we already know that some industries in Europe are already using the PEF. But the process needs to be optimized. And we believe that in the near future, the PEF will be widely spread in the industry. So it will not be a problem to rely on a technique that will be the future of the minimal food sterilization, because it is also a trend. Regarding the second question, when we go to a supermarket, we are looking for products with high quality. And usually we are not very concerned about the way they were sterilized, because if they are at the supermarkets, we believe they are safe. So we believe the consumers will not be worried about the new sterilization techniques as the PEF. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Afonso Malheiro will now present MyoChip, improving efficiency in drug development for ALS. He and his teammates, David Barata, Inês Martins, and Katarina Henning, are from IMM, Molecular Institute of Medicine.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Afonso, and I'm a bioengineer in MyoChip. And for the next minutes, I'll show you how we are improving efficiency in drug development for ALS. But before I move on, I'd like you to imagine something. Imagine what it's like to lose the ability to walk, the ability to move your arms, the ability to talk. That's what happens to someone suffering from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS in short. Every year, there are over 120,000 new diagnoses of this disease. For these patients, their average survival time is only 2 to 5 years. And right now, we only have 2 drugs in the market, which have very limited efficacy. We're still left with no cure for ALS, and we urgently need new drugs. Today, we'll not show you a cure, but we're going to show you a method that will help to find this cure. Because right now, drug development is a very slow, expensive, and inefficient process, as you already heard today. This is the pipeline, and right here, this is where lies one of the major problems. Right here at the preclinical phase. This is the phase where the best performing candidates from drug discovery are tested in animal and cellular models to screen for their efficacy and toxicity before they advance to humans. But the problem is that there is a very low predictive capacity of these models for the effect that drugs will have in humans. So what happens when these drugs go to clinical trials, they end up failing. In fact, 90% of these drugs end up failing. This is also the stage where most of the costs are spent, around 60%. So when we do the math, we calculated that over $500 million are spent, are just wasted because of this high failure rate. So we really need to improve the predictive capacity of the models in preclinical phase. And what seems to be the problem? Well, to put simply, the problem is that these models are very bad representations of how the human body works. We have animal models, which are complex living organisms, but they're just not humans. So because of that, they fail to mimic human diseases. And then we have the in vitro models, which have the right biology, but right now they are too simple. They do not accurately mimic the way a human organ works. And because of that, when you conduct testing, the data you get is inaccurate. So what we need to do is to combine the best of both worlds. We need to have an advanced human in vitro model that is a complex representation of how a human organ works. And if you want to do something like that for ALS, we first need to understand how ALS works. In a healthy scenario, the nerve contacts with the muscle and is able to emit electrical signals that reach the muscle and make it contract. And that's why you can move. But in ALS, the nerve is degenerated. And here at the interface between the nerve and the muscle, there's a degeneration and the electrical signals cannot arrive and the muscle cannot contract and you cannot move. And so if you want to do something like an accurate drug prediction model for ALS, first, we need to build a good biological replica of the neuromuscular unit, a complex replica that has the most relevant cell types, the nerves and the muscle, and these have to be functional, meaning that the nerve has to emit electrical signals, the muscle has to contract. Then we need to be able to simulate ALS, and this has to be within a platform that allows drug screenings, and preferentially in a convenient manner and large-scale manner as well. So what we did in MyoChip was to first generate the human cells that represent the neuromuscular unit. And for that, we have human stem cells, which we differentiate to either nerve cells or muscle cells. And we develop protocols to robustly fabricate these cells in high numbers and make sure these are functional. And when you use cells that come from healthy donors, we can generate a healthy model. But if we use cells that come from ALS donors, we can generate an ALS model, therefore simulating the disease. And what we also did was to incorporate these cells into the device which we custom made. And what this device does is that it organizes the cells and makes them form a biological replica of the neuromuscular unit. And because we use this device, we can also very easily perform testing, and especially at a large scale. Here you can see our prototype. On the left-hand side, you can see an overview of the chip, and on the middle, the example of the human neuromuscular unit, which we generated inside our chip. And in blue, you can see the nerve cell contacting with the muscle in white. And what happens is that at this interface, the nerve will emit electrical signals, which will make the muscle contract. And you'll be able to see it right here in this video. And this is happening inside our chip. So here we show that we can make these tissues functional inside a platform. And this is our drug screening woodwork. We generate an ALS model, and we add a drug compound to it. On the side, we also fabricate a healthy model to make sure everything is going fine. And then we run a series of customizable assays which look upon the drug efficacy and the toxicity. We talked with people in the ALS field to make sure that our technology was good, and they told us it's very good to screen novel compounds. And we also talked with prospective customers, people in the pharmaceutical industry, which would be very happy to adopt this in their pipeline. This is our business model. Our clients are pharma and biotech who need to develop new drugs for ALS. We would establish a contract with them where they provide us a drug library and tell us which data they're looking for. In our facilities, we produce these chips and we run this customizable assay, and within 2-3 months, we deliver them a drug report that tells the efficacy and toxicity of each compound. Our most relevant competitors are other companies like Charles River and Hesperos that are doing preclinical drug screening services for ALS. But right now, we're the ones that have the most advanced replica of the human neuromuscular unit. And because of that, our prediction ability is much higher. The market we want to enter is the preclinical R&D market for ALS, which we estimated to be around $193 million based on the amount of drugs and companies currently operating at preclinical and late drug discovery. And right now, this is our roadmap. We are filing the IP for the device design and application, and within the next 2 years, we want to scale up the first generation product, and in the end of these 2 years, to do a partnership with pharmaceutical companies to test drugs that are currently being used in the clinic to make sure that we can emulate these effects. Then, after IP granting, which we expect to happen in the end of 2024, we want to scale up the refined product, start to reach clients, and enter the market in 2026. Then, based after market entry in 2026, we predict that we'll reach break-even point between 2027 and 2028, and by 2030, we aim to reach 37 million in profit. This is all possible because we have an excellent team with multidisciplinary expertise. Right here today, Caterina and Inês. David could not join, unfortunately. And together, we have over 30 years of combined experience in biomedical engineering. To wrap up, MyoChip is the right solution to improve drug development efficiency for ALS, providing drug developers with predictive human data, a customizable drug report to save them costs and time. Thank you very much for your attention.
Questions? There's a hand in the back there.
Hi. Well, first, congratulations, great presentation. Now, may I ask you for an education on ALS while you're standing there? I mean, what you really, I guess, want to do is not treat ALS, but stop it from happening. So is there any way of taking cells from somebody who has a high probability of developing the disease and then discovering drugs on that basis, rather than preventing further deterioration? That's a no, I guess.
That is a very, is this on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you for that. So I have to think a bit about that. Indeed, so what happens to ALS is that in 10% of the cases, it is inherited from other family members. So, and if the one gene of this mutation is passed to another person, indeed, it's very likely that this person develops the disease as well. So those patient cells from future patients of ALS could indeed be used in our platform to, for example, look for early biomarkers, for example, to see if they develop the disease as well, and when the onset happens, and to maybe see if they can interfere earlier in the development. Because what happens is that ALS, when it's diagnosed, it usually takes up to 1 year. The patients lose a lot of time to be treated for the disease because they die within 2 to 5 years afterwards. So having a platform like this would be of great value to the patients.
Thank you.
Another question over here. There's a microphone. Yes.
Okay, Luis Antunes from University of Lisbon. There's one thing I cannot understand. As far as I could tell, you're not worried with treating the disease itself. You are probably working on the idea of having a quicker rejection of drugs that are not good to save those $500 million. So I cannot understand how you arrive in 10 years to $37 million since they are testing only like 200 drugs, as you said. So they will have to be testing, according to your prediction, your model of business, they will be having to be testing like thousands or dozens of thousands of drugs, I guess, to arrive to that number.
I can answer that. Yeah, so we predict, those are the amount of companies and drugs, and our service is recurrent. So basically, what we did was to first calculate our costs and estimate the price, also based on what companies are currently offering, companies in organ-on-chip and animal models. And organ-on-chip is more expensive than animal models because it's a more valuable service. So what we did first was to interview these companies operating for other models and understand how much they can price. Then we arrived at the price, and we estimated that in the first year we would sell 5 services, second year 10, 100 and 200. 200 is within a year, and it's a recurrent service. So there are more than 200 compounds and companies. Also, we will be the only one right now operating in this field at this level. So would have a better service. So with 200, that's the year 2030 that we estimated to be 37 million in profit, and that's 200 services. So that can be even for the same drug, because there are different things that we can look upon. So the service is based on, this is very standardized. We had to take an assumption what the service would be, because that's very customizable. And what we did was to look at what matters for ALS. And then we defined the service, and we offer that for these companies. So it's an estimation.
Okay, thank you very much. Our final presenters, Fykia Biotech, are from Interdisciplinary Center of Marine and Environmental Research, Ralph Urbatska, Pedro Leão, Anita Rita Vieira, Carlos Enriquez, and Hugo Amaral, and Ralph will be doing the presentation.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Ralph. I want to present, I'm from Fykia Biotech, and I want to present our product AlgaeFeed, which is a nutraceutical derived from a microalgae for treating obesity. So obesity is a real huge problem. It occurs in developed countries and non-developed countries. And look at these numbers. Every second person globally is overweight, and 1 in 10 person is obese. And this is even worse in some countries like US, the land of McDonald's, where you have around 73% that even already have weight problems. So obesity is caused by an excess energy. This is stored in the form of lipids and accumulate as fat in the body. And as you can see here in the middle, the visceral fat, so the fat around the inner organs, that's the fat that really matters. This is a recognized risk factor to develop many other diseases as diabetes, as cardiovascular, and so on. Obesity causes a very high mortality. It's a very high cost for our health security systems. And for the prevention, we have exercise and healthy diet. And the available treatment options, this is pharmacotherapy and bariatric surgeries. However, this is usually for the severe cases, for the morbid obese, and in addition, it has a low efficiency and it has side effects. So there's a real huge need to develop new solutions. Our approach was that we were searching for a molecule, a natural product that could reduce lipids. And we found it in HPA, which is a chlorophyll derivative. This chlorophyll derivative has a unique profile. It reduces lipids, it prevents the future accumulation. It doesn't have any toxicity in the effective concentration. It comes from a microalgae, and so by this it's carbon negative. We applied for a patent to protect the use of HPA in the treatment of obesity and comorbidities. As you can see in the images, we were seeing the efficiency of this compound in zebrafish, which is a recognized model organism in biomedicine. And important is the red fluorescence that you can see in the images that correspond to the fat mass. And I think everyone in the audience can easily see that on the HPA-treated fish, we have a dramatic decrease in lipids. So in a concentration of 10 microgram per milliliter, we get a decrease of more than 70% of the lipids. And again, we also didn't see any reaccumulation of the lipids in this exposure period. We discovered 3 proteins, potential targets. And what we can say today, that this is not the targets that today are used as classical weight loss therapy targets. Our product, we want to sell HPA as an enriched extract from spirulina. Spirulina is a microalgae / cyanobacteria that's already approved for human food consumption by FDA and by EFSA. HPA has a double action, so it reduces the lipids and it prevents its accumulation. And we want to sell our product named AlgaeFeed as a nutraceutical.
The addressable market for weight loss nutraceuticals in the United States is over $20 billion per year. And here I show you the comparison of our product against the top 2 nutraceutical competitors with clinical data, so FenQ and Sinetrol. Our approach was that we tested our product HPA against the competitors in our lab, with our zebrafish assay, and what we were seeing that our product was 2 times better in reducing the lipid levels than our competitors. Our business model foresees that we will outsource the production and the extraction, and that with the first product, AlgaeFeed, will enter early in the market, that we will distribute via online and other channels, while in the second time we will develop Obifitin, which is sought as a premium nutraceutical, where we will obtain the FDA health claims, and then we will approach the healthcare specialist that recommend it to their patients, and people can buy it in the pharmacies. The roadmap to do these steps, we will have to work on the extraction technology. We will have to do the testing in animal models before we can address in a second phase the industrial upscale and the pilot clinical trials to get the notification for new dietary ingredients by FDA. And by 2026, we then will be able to launch our first product. And then we have time to work on the qualified health claims that will allow us to launch our second product in the market. For this, we will need investment of $6 million. And we will foresee that in the 2031, we will get annual revenue of $160 million. We will need 3 years to get into the market, and the break-even is 3 years after market entry. So we have a lot of experience in microalgae and the valorization of natural products for human applications. Here with me is a team that was working actively in the HiTech program. And to sum it up, we are developing sustainable solutions from microalgae for tackling excess weight and obesity.
Questions? There's one right over there.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. It's a very interesting idea. As you know, I'm overweight, so I'm interested. So, first of all, I didn't understand very well the difference between the 2 products that you are presenting. Could you please explain a little bit further? Second one, how safe they are. How can you prove their safety, that they will not be harmful for our health? And third, what I think is the most important, do you have any idea of the price that so a final customer will have to pay for this? Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the first question? Because we got lost in the middle. Okay, yeah, but about the difference. So firstly, we will sell a nutraceutical that has the capability of changing the fat metabolism of the body. But since we don't have any FDA approved claim, we can't really say it treats obesity yet. And this is why we'll have a second product where we can actually claim that we have that activity. And so we will enter the market firstly with basically, it will be a dietary supplement where we can say that it changes the fat metabolism that will help the people reduce their weight. However, it is not yet confirmed by the FDA, and it will only be confirmed in the second product, where we can actually approach doctors and make them advise it to patients. The second question.
I think I can answer. I think it was regarding the price. So we were first trying to enter the US market, and we compare ourselves with the common nutraceuticals that they sell there that were around $70, and then we would consider to enter with AlgaeFeed around $100. And then for the Obifitin fighting, that would be the nutraceutical with a health claim, we would consider $150, but then we would have to approach healthcare insurances and other types of institutions that could cover that cost in the US. So that's for the US markets.
Yeah, the last question was the safety. So we have already data from cells and from the zebrafish, where you can also see lethality, you can see malformations of the embryos and so on. So this is actually used as a model to see the toxicity of drugs in the market. So it is a replacement procedure to see the safety of drugs. Of course, we will have to go to the rodents. That's what we have in the roadmap, to be sure to make this standard 90 days toxicity test that's needed also for the regulatory process, even before we can go to the clinical pilot tests.
Okay, thank you very much. This concludes the team presentations. So I'd like to give a round of applause to all of the teams for their hard work and fine presentations. And with that, I turn this back over to Pedro Vilarinho.
Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you to all the teams. I think you did wonderful work, and I have done a quick survey on the people that have seen you on the midterm presentation and now on the final presentation. And it was absolutely unanimous that it was a huge difference. Okay? So you have done a great work, and we have to thank the mentors, the advisors, and of course, Roger and Steve for helping you throughout these final weeks of work. Okay, so I will have, in fact, it's two presentations in one. The first one is about the HiSeedTech, the association that sponsors HiTech. And the second one is about European project that we are going to kick off here tomorrow. So, HiSeedTech is a not-for-profit association, and our goal is to link research with the market. And over the years, what we have done is to create a collaborative network that involves researchers and companies that we try to leverage so that we can help create value either through economic impact or social impact. One of the particular characteristics that we have is that we are only science-based. So our focus has been and will stay on science-based innovation, what now is called deep tech. The temptation to move away from deep tech is huge because it's easier, numbers are higher, it's faster to get to the market, but nevertheless, as Mário said earlier on, we think that this is our mission. And that's why we have been doing this, and we will keep doing this. Another thing that we have been doing with our member companies is we do not place research projects in the market. We go to the companies, try to understand their problems, and then try to translate these problems into research needs. So we do exactly the reverse of what you have done in HiTech. So that's the work that we do in the association. Try to understand what are the research needs and convert into research outputs that we need. So we are a very small association. We just have 24 members. The European project is the first funding that we have from sources outside the companies. So we were never supported by any government funds. So we were always supported by these 24 fantastic companies that have a lot of patience and have waited for us to produce results. The companies are from a wide range of industries. They are very small, very large. We have a bit of everything. But there's one thing that brings them together. They understand what we try to do, and that's why they have been staying with us for such a long time. Why do you think that this is important? One key aspect in what we do is that we have very clear, since the moment we started, that our customers are not universities or the research labs. Our customers are the researchers. So whenever we go out on the roadshow, we talk to the researchers. We don't talk to the universities. We don't talk to the TDOs. We don't talk to the research labs. We talk to the researchers because they are the key ingredient for the success of the projects. And what we try to do is to help them break the barriers, or what it has been known for quite a while, the value of that keeps this difference between what's research and what's the market. And that's the role of HiSeedTech, is to build bridges between these two different institutional logics. And as so, we position ourselves as innovation intermediaries that basically look for setting up marriages between two different products. This is driven by the fact that when we look at different statistics that are provided by different international institutions, we find out that research investment in research has been growing over the last 20 years. The research output has increased a lot, and it's the black line. The black line is the number of papers on SCI papers, which are the journals that really count, the reputable journals. They have increased from about 4 per million population to about 20, so 5 times the productivity for an increase of about 2 times the investment in science and technology. So the input to the knowledge-based economy, it's there. And it's also there because of this. 100, this is from the Innovation Scoreboard 2021. 100 means that we are on the average of the 27, I think UK was out of this, 27 EU member countries. So we have, on average, we produce on average the same number of doctorates as the average of EU countries. We are better positioned on international scientific publications. We are not bad on most cited publications, and we are not bad on money invested in the public sector in research and development. However, we are pretty bad when we transfer technology to the market. So we are very, very poor on PCT patent applications, on innovation expenditures per employer, on venture capital expenditures, and employment in knowledge-intensive activities, which are the 4 measures that Innovation Scoreboard uses to measure the absorption of knowledge by the economy. So, all in all, we don't have a problem with the science we produce, but we have a problem with the knowledge we absorb from the science that is produced. And that's what HiSeedTech is trying to contribute to change. So that's why we have this positioning as an innovation intermediary, and for that we do brokerage, we do training, we do mentoring, we do networking, and we do executive coaching. So we have a set of activities that we do throughout the year to try and address this from both the knowledge offer side as well from knowledge deployment side. So HiSeedTech for companies is centered around 2 main activities. There are more activities than this, but there are 2 main activities. One, it's called high value, and it's essentially a new product development program that looks to help companies in setting up new product development processes using an approach that we developed or co-developed that is very HiTech-like. So it's very formalized and very process-like. The other one is HiSolve, in which we go out to our companies and ask them to provide us with challenges that require science to be solved. And this has been an outstanding experience because we have helped solving from very small problems to problems that need deep science and that will see the market light in 5 years or 7 years and need a huge investment. So this is the 2 most important activities that we do with the company. For researchers, we have HiTech, which all of you know. And as usually, we finish HiTech and we start HiTech next year. We have iEngine, which is the follow-up of HiTech, in which we reach out to the teams that participated in HiTech, and we invite some of the teams to join us so that we can help them develop either by helping finding funding or helping finding partners. And like HiTech, this is a one-to-one activity. So it's not a course, it's a program that it's essentially a mentoring and coaching problem, and we sit with teams, and we work together with teams. And then we have HiTech Startup, which is a follow-on of iEngine, and this is a long-run partnership. Very few projects reach this stage because, as most of you know, HiTech is a very small association, so we need to be very picky when we choose the projects. Right now, we have 6 projects in HiTech Startup, and they keep us very busy. And HiTech Startup, it's very difficult to describe because it's a one-to-one. We meet with teams every 2 or 3 weeks and with whatever it's needed to keep things going. So this describes what we do from research side. We start where you started, in science, and then we go hand in hand with the teams until they are ready to fly. Okay, so HiTech is what brought us here, and HiTech is for research teams from Portuguese research and development organizations. And one thing that people have to learn when we speak is that we are very careful with words. So organizations can mean basically anything. We didn't write their universities on purpose. So we already had teams from large companies. We had teams from startups like Fykia this year, or HuTissue. We have teams from universities, from research labs, so that's organizations at large. We are very careful in selecting the teams, and we make very clear from the beginning that this is an activity that is tough. And the goal is essentially to help the teams understand what the science can bring in terms of product and market, of fulfilling market needs and linking science with products, to help them better communicate science to a non-science audience, which is tricky because scientists usually are used to communicate science to scientists, and this crowd speaks a completely different language. Also to help them evaluate different parts to the market. So creating a startup is not the only part, there are other parts to the market. And also be better aligned with Horizon Europe goals. This was introduced just last year because it is important that you understand that projects within HiTech are very early in the stage of development. It's difficult to find investors that are willing to invest in such early stage projects. And to look for European funding, it's the best way for these projects to move from low technology readiness levels, which typical are the ones that they are, 3 or 4, to higher technology readiness levels that are investable, which are typically 6 or 7. So it's important that the teams are aligned with these goals. The outcome is a pitch that you have seen here today, and also a business case that teams have written. It's a long program, not that it takes a lot of hours of contact, but it takes time because these things take time. And usually I say that we won't do much. We provide the teams with the tools for the teams to work and some content, some basic content that they need, but most of the work is not ours, it's theirs. So basically, we put full on the teams for the teams to move forward. We have the help of the mentors, the tutors, and the advisors, which is important. It's a hands-on experience that relies on real projects that the teams have developed. And we try to involve as much as possible companies to help validate the value proposition that the teams construct. So there are 3 moments which are very important throughout HiTech. The first is very early on when the teams have to present the technology, which sometimes it's like we have someone speaking Chinese with us, and we don't understand a thing of what they are saying. But fortunately, we have some partners that understand a little bit better than us because they speak American. Then we have halfway the value proposition, which is the first reality check that the teams have to go through. And then we have this. We have IP support from Clark Move, which is one of our member companies that provides a webinar and contacts. And this year we have 9 teams, 34 researchers, 20 mentors, and 4 advisors. So these are the first set of mentors. Unfortunately, one of the mentors, which was the president of HiSeedTech, died in May. But fortunately, we have a lot of mentors that helped us cover this big loss for the association. So these are the first set, and this is the second set. So I hope you join me in a big round of applause to the mentors that helped us. Okay, these are the advisors. Christina, stand up. Alipio, he might be there, he's back there. And Claudia. Okay, these are the American partners in which we rely. Roger and Steve were the ones that work harder this year. So, Roger, there. Steve, I hope that you are still there. And hopefully Angus will be out there too, listening to us. Okay. One thing that's very funny about HiSeedTech, before I close this chapter and go to the next steps, is that whenever we speak about HiSeedTech, it looks like we are 20 people or something like that. We are not. We had just 2. So, Claudia, come here. So this is HiSeedTech. Okay, the good thing is that now we have a younger member of the team that just joined in, and we have the help of a lot of people that help us pro bono, namely the mentors, the directors of HiSeedTech, which are a huge help, and of course the associates that are a big help. So whenever you speak about HiSeedTech, you can say it's the leanest association that you have ever found. Okay, so wait. So next is going to be the Southern European Entrepreneurship Engine, which is going to be the European project that we are going to coordinate. Claudia is going to be in charge of the project. We have some of our partners here. So partners, can you stand up, please? Okay, of course, it's funded by European Union, as you can see there, and we thank them a lot for that. So it was a long time. This morning we had the HiSeedTech General Assembly, and it was a long time before we found an European project that had an exact fit with what we do. And finally, we found this one. These are the goals that the European Union had for this call. The goal is elevating the scalability potential of European business. And the goals of the call are those 4 goals that are there. Increase access to capital investments, increase venture investments, enable late-stage growth, facilitated investor success to the flow of local deals, and improved investors' knowledge on regulatory frameworks and networks. And this is a very good fit on what we do. So we were one of the 5 consortium that one of the 5, and by the way, the smallest one that was funded. We are just 4, Australo, which is Spanish, EPLO, which is Greek, IDHI, International Development Ireland, which is Irish, of course, and HiSeedTech. You can ask, what in the hell is doing an Irish partner in a Southern European? Well, it's a sad story. It was not meant to be like this. But unfortunately, the call requires that one of the partners needs to be a strong innovator. And none of the Southern European countries is a strong innovator. So we had to find and hire to help us out. And Ireland is a strong innovator, so that's why. And in fact, IDI is an Irish/Greek institution, so it's a bit of both things. So our goal is to be an engine of growth to improve the network of the entrepreneurship, deep tech entrepreneurship ecosystem in Southern European countries. Once again, it's science-based. We will focus on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the project is going to be 2.5 years. We will have 2 calls. There are 3 tracks. There's going to be 2 calls for each track. The first call is going to be a call for part of the SDGs, and the second call is going to be to another part of the SDGs. And it will involve projects, startups, and companies. And it looks like HiSeedTech in an European scale. We have HiTech-like project, we have iSolve-like project, and we have HiTech startup-like projects. So the goal is to close the innovation gap. These are the different partners. So we are the coordinators. These are the 3 tracks: plug in and start, connect and charge and drive and reserve. Sorry. Track 1 is what HiTech is, basically, is looking for research teams throughout Southern Europe and providing this research team with technology commercialization skills. The second part is looking for startups and help them develop business plans that are investment ready for them to look for both non-dilutable and dilutable funding. And the third part is, like iSolve, is looking for companies that have challenges that need science and connect them with research teams and startups to help solve those problems. So basically, this is a perfect fit with what HiSeedTech does, and that's what we had been looking for all these years, because this is going to be a boost for what we do. So this brings us to the end of the session. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all the teams, and I wouldn't like to say goodbye without a big thanks to the team. Okay, thank you.